The computer that we're using somehow flipped us over to a personal account instead of the Middale page. So if you missed the first couple of minutes, I'm going to start from the beginning. We've been having a few technical difficulties this morning, and we're not fully staffed, and that's fine. We're just we're winging it, and the last 6 weeks of the school year are going to involve a whole lot of winging it, just like the last couple of weeks have, and we're doing our best with that. So I'm going to start by saying good morning and thank you for participating in this Facebook Live Ask Me Anything session. We've had a lot happen since we did this 2 weeks ago, and I wanted to give you some updates. And before I get to your question, I want to talk a little bit about where we are with our child nutrition program. We've been increasing the number of students that we are feeding every day. Please remember that we have 8 feeding sites, Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 11 in the morning, and any child can receive meals. They do not have to qualify for free and reduced lunch price meals. They do not have to attend school in Middale, and thanks to a new waiver that we received this week, they don't even have to be present when you pick up the meals. We're trying to find more ways just to get kids fed. Reminder, we want to remind you that our 8 feeding sites are Del City High School, Midwest City High School, Barnes Elementary School, Highland Park Elementary School, Midwest City Elementary School, Soldier Creek Elementary School, Steed Elementary School, and Tinker Elementary School. We're also on the verge of launching our continuous learning plan. We've frozen all grades in all subject areas as of March 12th, and that's per the guidance that we've received from the State Department of Education. We will soon release a menu of enrichment activities and lessons for all grade levels and subject areas. It's good if you keep checking our website and social media pages for updates, and you should keep the questions coming to us at COVID questions, that's COVIDQUESTIONS at mid-del.net, and that email address is on our website. I want to start with some of the questions that we received in the last few days on our Facebook page once we posted the notice that we were having this session. These come from the comments and also from the emails that we've received from people in our community. The first question is, will support staff continue to receive pay while school buildings are shut down? And to answer this question, I want to bring in Dr. Perez, our Deputy Superintendent, and he's also our Director of Human Resources, so he can come in and talk a little bit about that.
All right, good morning, everybody. So just a little bit of background on this, just to clarify, and I know that Dr. Cobb had sent out an email last night to the staff, but just so everybody has the full information on this. Prior to spring break, when we were anticipating some possible short-term school closures, we went into a memorandum of understanding with MDSEA in order to help protect our contracted support employees so they would continue to get paid during that short-term closure. We knew that we were able to do this through guidance from legal counsel, and so we had gone into that memorandum of understanding that has not been board approved yet, but the intention was to be able to pay our support employees during that short-term closure. What we've been waiting on to this point has been for guidance from either the State Department of Education or from the Oklahoma legislature as to whether legally we could continue to do that through the rest of the school year. Obviously, with everything going on right now, our legislature, our Congress has not, our government has not had a chance to reconvene to be able to put any new language into place, but we have received information basically stating that districts have the authority to be able to continue to pay their support employees, their contracted support employees, through the rest of the school year if we choose to do so, which obviously we do. We were one of the first districts to put an MOU into place. And so at our April 7th board meeting, we're anticipating that our school board will approve that MOU. And so this is my really, really long way of saying that if you are a contracted support employee with Middale Schools, you can rest easy. You don't need to apply for unemployment. You don't need to worry about not having pay. You don't need to worry about during this time having to use your leave or any other benefits. You're not going to lose any of those things. So you're taken care of. And I really want to also encourage our support employees and pretty much anybody else that's continuing to receive full pay and full benefits not to apply for unemployment. Right now in Oklahoma, we have a lot of people who are applying for unemployment that really need that. And for our people who are still receiving the same pay as always, when you apply, then you are slowing down that process for everybody else. So I just want to encourage that. But once again, just want to reiterate, support employees. You're in great shape. Please make sure you're being in contact as much as possible through your Middle email for updating information, including times where you may need to be brought back into work. We're just considering everybody basically on call. So you may be asked to come in and do your primary job function, or you may be asked to do another job function that can help continue the mission of the district as essential. So essential personnel is what everybody's kind of looked at, but you're utilized in that role at sporadic times. So the best way to keep informed in that is with your school email. If you don't have access to your school email, make sure you stay in contact with your supervisor. I think that's it.
That's great. Thank you, Dr. Perez. Again, he's been very proactive, and our entire HR department has been working really hard to make sure that employees don't lose pay, don't lose benefits, and don't lose leave. And I think it's really important that everybody knows that that we're working to keep everybody on the job, even if you're not physically on the job right now. We're keeping everybody employed to the best of our ability, and that work began before spring break. And even though we've had to answer the same question multiple times, if there's somebody who's not getting that answer, we want to make sure that we keep answering that question. The next thing that we have is in creating the continuous learning plan. So we're now talking about how we will continue instruction. Will the district keep in mind that some parents have multiple children at home and that some parents still have to go to work? And we've had multiple forms of that question, and I just kind of put it into a blended form here for the sake of this discussion. One of the questions that we specifically had was about parents who are going to work at as first responders or going to work in hospitals right now. And first of all, we just appreciate that you're doing everything you can to keep us all safe and healthy, and we hope that you're taking care of yourself. Family is more important to us than anything else right now. We want to continue providing instructional opportunities for kids, but we know that not every parent is home all day and can sit down on a with a laptop or with a tablet with their kids. We know that not every family has internet access. Not every family has electronic devices where they can continue instruction. And so from day one, as we've started planning our continuous learning plan, we've been mindful of the fact that not every family has the same technology, that not every family has the same structure of interaction with parents and kids. And so there's a lot that's going to be different from household to household. And we know that. And so our continuous learning plan is very mindful of that. We're not expecting students to do 6 hours of schoolwork every day during this time. That would be unrealistic. And for parents who have multiple students at home, having you help that many students or that many kids do 6 hours of work a day, we're not expecting that of you. Our continuous learning plan has some recommended guidelines of how much time students need to be doing academic work, but it does not make specific demands about how much students will be doing on that. When are teachers going to find out what is expected of them when we go to distant learning? And I have several things that I feel like we need to say about this. One is that we're focusing on two things here. Your expectations are relationships and learning for the sake of learning. We're not in a position right now where we can assign work to students and give them grades for turning it in and give them zeros if they don't. That's not something that we can do from this point forward. We've said for years that the value of learning is learning and not the grades. Grades are important. Grades are a measure sometimes of how much students have learned, but there's no realistic way to continue where we left off on March 6th and pick that up on March 12th and pick that up on April 6th and have the exact same kind of learning structure as we move forward. The relationships are the first piece of education. The building block of education is the relationship between teachers, and students. And the first thing that we want is teachers reaching out to kids. This doesn't mean that if you're teaching high school and you have over 100 students, that you personally need to call over 100 students every week. Between the other teachers that student has, you're probably going to have to call 5 or 6 students a day on average. And don't just start with, here's the work I expect you to do. Asking how they're doing, asking how things are going for them. It's a very scary time for kids. It's a very scary time for adults. There's nothing wrong with being honest about the fact that we're a little bit scared too. We don't know what the end of this looks like. We know that there's another side to this. We know that we come out on the other side and we don't know what it looks like, but we know that we're going to be in it together. So I'm not sure what's happening in the background here with me. We're focused. We want you to call and check in on your kids, but then we also want you to find out, our students getting to our meal sites? Do they know about our meal sites? Do they know about the continuous learning plan? Do they need help accessing that? Our survey that we sent out to families showed that only about half of our students have internet access at home reliably or have the technology to do full-on distance learning. And so we're trying to avoid using the phrase distance learning. That's not really what this is. When people hear those words, they think that we're doing online instruction, and that's not really what this is. So between the students who can access the content that we're going to make available online and the students who pick up packets at our learning sites that we will make available to them, there will be a menu of learning options available for students. And there will be times that they can interact with their teachers and ask questions. They might have picked up a packet and say, hey, on page 3 of this activity, I have some questions about how to do what you're asking me to do. And that's okay. We don't need, this is not a time that teachers are going to be collecting all of that work and grading it. While students are working, we're going to connect teachers through Google Voice so that they won't have to use their personal cell phone numbers. I know that teachers don't always like to give all of their students and families their personal cell phone numbers, and I understand that completely. So we're giving you an option of using Google Voice for that. We have some electives that are a little bit harder to account for in terms of a continuous learning plan, like clay art, computers, and some specialized classes. Well, these programs, there's really no way to recreate that with worksheets and with online activities. Our elective teachers are dedicated, just as dedicated as anybody else, to helping provide instruction and provide activities to enrich learning over the next 6 weeks. But no, it's just going to be different. It's not going to be expected that all students and all classes pick up where they left off on March 6th. We are expecting, as I mentioned, teachers to freeze grades as of March 12th and give students who choose to have an opportunity to raise their grades. More likely, though, we expect you to help students who are doing the work that we make available to them. IEP meeting and related services for our special education students will still be scheduled. Special services has been providing guidance in this area for teachers, and they've reached out to our special education teachers, I think in an email with a lot of guidance last week, and we're continuing to update that. Finally, we expect you to participate in online conferences with your principals and colleagues. When your principal says, I need to have a virtual meeting, you need to be available for that virtual meeting. Every teacher in this district is still on contract, and your workload's going to be different. And I've been struggling with this myself. I've been struggling with virtual meetings. I think that we're all having to relearn meeting etiquette and how we function as groups in an online setting. And it's okay for it not to be easy the first time. It's okay to look at the process of continuous learning and have some anxiety because it's different than what you're used to doing. I think a lot of our teachers are going to feel that. On the flip side, I've seen a lot of teachers already posting online that they've reached out to all of their students. I've seen a lot of our teachers online talking about learning opportunities that they're ready to provide. We've had a lot of input here from teachers who are eager to help us develop the continuous learning plan. So I think that it's a it's a mixture of anxiety and creativity and ideas, and we have some of the most innovative people in the world working in Mid-Del, and they're dedicated to trying to find solutions. And I think that what we're going to see during the next few weeks is that we try some ways to bring education to our students that are a lot different. We're going to find that a lot of those things are ideas that we can continue doing in the fall when school starts up as regular again. And I think that we're going to find that we tried some things that maybe we want to put back into a drawer. It's, this is a time for us to be creative and enrich ourselves as professionals, but also to provide learning and enrichment opportunities for our students. There will be some professional development opportunities during the next 6 weeks that we're still in the process of developing, but it's definitely going to be a different time in all of our lives in terms of the expectations that we have. Next question that I have is, when will we find out about students promoting to the next grade? And the person who asked this question that I wrote it when I wrote it down specifically mentioned kindergarten and pre-K, but I think it applies pretty much to all grade levels. The recommendation that we've received from the state is to do everything possible to pass, promote, and graduate students. Teachers, counselors, and principals will be communicating directly with students and their families about those decisions. So it's not going to be there's not a blanket answer that I can give in every situation, but students who were on track to be promoted prior to March 12th are still on track to be promoted. How is career tech being addressed? Mr. Mendenhall and Mrs. Stearns will be sending out information related to the plan of action from the Department of Career Tech. We have, I think, some other questions about career tech later on in the Q&A here, so I'll get to some more information on that in a little bit. When will we be able to pick up yearbooks, pictures, and other items that we have paid for? We definitely will find a way to do that, but right now we've been focused on getting the necessary pieces in place for the continuous learning plan. Rest assured, if you've paid for it, we want you to receive it, and we'll find a way to do that. I believe, after talking to a couple of other people this morning, that our yearbooks have already been ordered, and again, we'll find a way to get those to you. We also received a question about still able to order yearbooks, and at this point in the year, those orders have been finalized. If there is a surplus, if there are additional yearbooks, you may want to email your child's principal to see if that could be an option for you. As far as lunch account balances, students who are returning to Mid-Del, those balances will just be rolled forward into next year. If you are moving or graduating, then a refund check will be processed and sent to you, although this might take several weeks. Another question. We are moving at the end of the school year. How long will it take to get final grades, transcripts, and records transferred? As of Monday, April 6th, all school districts in Oklahoma should be able to resume record production and delivery. It might take a little more time since we're not fully staffing our buildings right now, but hopefully it won't take too much more time. If you're leaving Mid-Del at the end of the school year, we will have to receive an official records request from the student's new district before we can send anything. Hold on just a second. Will students be able to retrieve personal items from the schools and the technology center? Absolutely. We haven't found a way to do that right now without going against CDC guidelines of having no 10 people in the same place at any one time. Whenever the curve flattens, and hopefully that's soon, we'll address that more, and we agree that this needs to happen. When will we be able to return school books, including library books? That's going to be a challenge. It'll probably be when we can let students into buildings to retrieve personal belongings. We've had several people ask that question lately, and we definitely want those things back, and we need those things back, but right now we don't have a way of doing that. What about fundraisers? We will have to address those on a case-by-case basis. There are too many scenarios out there to list them all here. Your school or your sponsor will have some guidance for you with this. If you have a specific question about a fundraiser that you or your student have participated in, then email the school directly about that question or the sponsor of that activity. Do we have a date for middle school enrollment? At this time, no, we don't. We're working on getting that ready. We definitely want students to participate in preference process so that they can choose electives available in our middle schools, and we'll have an opportunity to do that. So just stay tuned. Can we get a refund on prom tickets? Yes, we're not going to be able to have a school-sponsored prom this year at any of our high schools, and that's unfortunate. I know that's a really important event to a lot of people, but we recognize that that's where we are, and we will put together a process for issuing refunds to students who have prepaid for any activity that has been canceled. I just think that's the right thing to do. Will graduation be rescheduled? We're still keeping our options open here. We have the State Fairgrounds Arena reserved for May 23rd, 3 high school graduations. If it becomes impossible to keep that date, we will look at doing something else on that date. And if you've ordered graduation announcements and caps and gowns, you can contact your high school about what to expect. I wouldn't say contact them all right now and flood them with that question, because we don't have an answer to that question yet, but that information will be coming out through the high schools. We plan on doing something, whether it's at the fairgrounds or not, to celebrate our graduates on May 23rd. We will also consider doing something in the summer. We just have to see how this pandemic plays out. Will midday feeding program to allow students to pick up multiple meals at once? Currently, our food distributor does not have enough on stock to allow us the option to provide a week's worth of meals at the beginning of the week. We have recently added 3 new sites, and we continue to look at other options to reach more children, and right now we're doing what we have the capacity for. And here's another question about the Middle Technology Center classes. I'm just going to try to read this word for word. I haven't previewed this answer. Students will be able to finish their coursework through our continuous learning plan. The programs that require clinical hours, such as health careers and cosmetology, the licensing boards for those programs set the requirements, and they have given us direction about how we can adjust clinical hours in order for students to complete the program. Middle Technology Center instructors have reached out to their students in the last 2 days to inform them of the continuous learning plan for their program and to answer any of the questions that the students may have about finishing their programs. You need to feel free to contact the instructors through the email listed on the Middle Technology Center webpage if you have further questions. Our next question is people wanting an update on changes for emergency certified teachers. Right now, we know that the State Department of Education is granting a 3rd-year extension for emergency certified teachers who are in their 2nd year. This does require progress to have been made during the school year in order to qualify. We are still waiting on notification, but if you are a 2nd-year emergency certified teachers and you have questions, please see Dr. Perez. How do I get a principal's email address? That is on the school's website. You can find pretty much any teacher, principal, central office administrator on the school district website, and we have people reach out to us just from finding our contact information on our website all the time. That's not just a situation for now. That's something that happens year round. All right, do we have any other questions coming in? Not really? I mean, anything new that you're seeing on there that we haven't really answered? I mean, I see a question over here on the side about Carl Albert doing food pickup too. Right now, we can only serve meals at our Title I schools, and Carl Albert's not a Title I school. And right now, we only have the capacity to do about 8 sites, so that's what we limited it to right now. I'm getting some notes over here. Hold on just a second. Oh. Okay, I want to just real quick talk again about how providing updates. We will continue updating our website. When we get questions that are new, we'll do our best to answer those. We have created an email account, and I think I mentioned it at the top of the live stream, but I don't know if it was the one where we jumped off for a minute, or this one. COVID questions at mid-del.net is an email account that we have set up, and we're really monitoring it during business hours. Stacy Boyer is answering questions from there. In the first 24 we had it set up, we had somewhere between 30 and 40 questions. Promise it's just allergies. And our district health coordinator is looking at me funny from across the room. So a lot of the answers that we're still giving people are, I don't know. And right now, we're still figuring things out. We've figured out the food part pretty quickly. And since then, we've been working pretty much nonstop on the instruction piece that we will release at some point tomorrow. And from there, we're going to start whittling away at more of the questions that we're coming in. And I see another note being written to me. That's on the screen. I'm supposed to remind everybody again that we will have day later time for students to retrieve items from schools and for teachers to clean out classrooms. Right now, the most important that we're trying to do is stay in compliance with all of the guidance that we're getting from the different health agencies, state, local, federal. This is another important note. We realized during this time that some of you have contact information, some parents contact information in PowerSchool that's out of date. One of the earliest questions that we received over the last weekend as we were working on the continuous learning plan was from teachers asking how we can reach out to students when we don't have working phone numbers for everybody. And that's a problem. At the end of every week, we're going to have principals give us a list of students that we haven't been able to reach. And we'll try other ways to try to get in touch with them. And more or less, we just want to check in and make sure that all of our people are okay. And then we want to make sure they're getting fed and make sure we're providing them with instruction. But if you're a parent and your contact information in PowerSchool is not up to date, you can email cnewnham, and let me spell that out, CNEWNAM at mid-del.net. And she can update that information for you. We just had a question about tryouts for extracurricular activities and teams this year. Right now, I don't have any answers about that. That's something that we are going to have to consider. Obviously, we can't do it right now because we can't have gatherings. When it becomes appropriate for us to restart that process, then we will, and we'll make announcements everywhere that we need to. All right. Anything else, anyone? We'll get one more question being typed in. All right, several questions about how parents will find out about the continuous learning plan. Tomorrow morning, I'm having a meeting with principals to go over it. Principals will be sending out something to the teachers to go over it, and then some point tomorrow afternoon, it'll just be some point tomorrow afternoon when we have all of the documentation that we need ready. We will put everything on our website. We will send out a letter to everybody in our contact list, and then principals and teachers will continue calling parents and calling households and trying to get information to them. All right. Oh, getting one more. How will we contact non-English speaking households? Right now, we're looking for translators to help us with that, and that's part of the plan that we're trying to work out. It's not good for us just to be able to reach the majority of our students, so we're working on that plan. Okay. I think we're good to go. I think that, as always, if you have more questions, email us. If you missed any part of this discussion, the video will remain on Facebook. I had an email from a teacher right before we started in response to a message I sent out yesterday asking me what am I supposed to do if I'm not on Facebook? And again, we're going to keep repeating information to all of our staff and to our community as much as possible. And I'm in a position right now where I know that to reach as many people as we can, I have to be willing to say things multiple times and in multiple ways. And we're going to do our best, keep communicating with all of our teachers, and we're just going to can do video website. Thank you for that. And if you have any other questions, just reach out to us. Again, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for being a part of the Middell family. Stay safe, stay well, stay home, wash your hands.